If you own a Jeep, you know that sinking feeling when a warning light suddenly flashes on the dashboard. And if that light led you to an error code P0107, well, you've come to the right place. We're going to decode exactly what your Jeep is trying to tell you.
So you're just driving along, minding your own business, and then boom, there it is, the dreaded check engine light. Now, if you've plugged in a scanner and it's flashing P00107, try not to panic. We're about to break down exactly what this code means and, more importantly, how you can start figuring out a solution.
All right, so what is this warning, really? Think of it less like some random glitch and more like a very specific message coming directly from your Jeep's main computer. It's not just screaming, "Hey, something's wrong." It's pointing its finger at a very particular part of the engine system.
Okay, let's get into the technicals. P0107 stands for Manifold Absolute Pressure Sensor Circuit Low Error. I know, that's a mouthful. But let's translate that into plain English. Your Jeep's brain, that's the Powertrain Control Module, or PCM, it's constantly listening for a signal from a really important sensor. With this code, it's basically saying, hey, I'm supposed to be getting a certain voltage from the sensor, but the signal coming in is way too low. It's flagging a communication breakdown.
And listen, this is not one of those codes you can just ignore and hope it goes away. Our source material is crystal clear on this, calling it a serious issue. Why? Because a problem with this sensor can mess with your engine's performance and your fuel system in a big way. So tackling it sooner rather than later is definitely the way to go.
Okay, so we know it's a low voltage error. But the big question is, why is the voltage low? Well, our source points us to 6 potential culprits. It's time to put on our detective hats and figure out what's really going on under the hood. Here it is. This table is basically our entire diagnostic map. On the left, you've got the 6 possible causes, and they really fall into 2 big buckets: circuit failures and faulty parts. And over on the right, you can see the solution for each one. Think of this as our roadmap for the whole investigation. Let's start breaking it down piece by piece.
So the first place we're going to look is the circuitry itself. Believe it or not, a full 4 out of the 6 potential causes are all related to the wiring. You can think of these as little electrical gremlins causing that communication breakdown between the sensor and the computer.
The problem here is either what's called an open circuit. You can picture it like a drawbridge being stuck up. The signal just can't get across. Or it could be a short circuit, where the electricity is taking a wrong turn and going straight to the ground. Now, our source says this is often caused by something as simple as a frayed wire or a connector that's come loose. So the first real step is to get in there and hunt for any physical breaks or bad connection.
Now, what if you've checked all the wiring and everything looks perfect? Well, then our investigation pivots from the connections to the hardware itself. There are 2 main components that could have just plain failed, and either one would trigger that P0107 code. First up is the star of the show, the Manifold Absolute Pressure Sensor, or MAP sensor. This is the very part that's supposed to be sending out the signal in the first place. Sometimes parts just wear out and malfunction. If the sensor itself is the problem, the solution is pretty straightforward. You've got to replace it.
And last but not least, we have the brain of the whole operation, the Powertrain Control Module, or PCM. This is your Jeep's main computer. Now, it's less common for this to be the issue, but it can malfunction and fail to properly read the signal it's getting from the MAP sensor. If it turns out the PCM is the culprit, it'll need to be replaced too. Okay, we've gone through all the clues. We know the culprit is either a glitch in the wiring or a faulty part, like the sensor or the main computer. So now that we know what to look for, what do you actually do? Let's talk about taking action. I want to circle back to this quote from our source material one more time, because if you remember one thing, it should be this. Jeep code P0107 is a serious issue that should be addressed immediately. Putting this off can lead to much bigger and probably more expensive problems with your engine down the road. So, that check engine light isn't just a random, annoying light anymore. When you see P00107, you know it's a specific, important signal. Your vehicle is literally telling you where the problem is. The only question left is, are you ready to listen?